A forgotten artifact lies in pieces on a planet far from Earth. Few know it exists except those who took it back and those whose ancestors created it. 4 young people are thrown into a race against emissaries of the gods to find his pieces. Mistrust, greed, and magic are tangled in an endless web. What will the fate be of the universe once it is found and reassembled? Get Scepter of the Gods, The Rod of Truth now on Amazon, and get wrapped up in the saga that will not let you go.
Good morning and welcome to the Motivational Devotional, where we are merging motivation and spirituality to create a daily dose of confident positivity. I hope that this morning's podcast will help you to be more spiritually and positively motivated so that you can transform your day.
Good morning, I am Mark the Writer, and I want to thank you for joining me today as we continue our series, 50 Ways to Love Your Soul. I hope you've been able to follow along with the series and are finding it helpful in getting your new year going in the direction of your lifelong goals. If you know anyone who could use some encouragement in setting goals, then please share this podcast or the blog version from motivational-devotional.com. On Facebook, please feel free to repost any of the things that come from Motivational Devotional. That'd be great. I appreciate it. One of the popular bands of the 70s was the group Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Probably their most popular song was Spinning Wheel. Not played that often on the radio these days, I don't think. But they were named after the old phrase about really hard work being that you gave your blood, sweat, and tears. I've given a lot of sweat in jobs that I've had over the years, given a little unintentional blood, but I don't remember giving any tears. I know there are jobs where the work is harder than what I've done in my life, but I've done some brutal, nasty work here and there. I sweated a lot in the Air Force. I sweated when we had training in chemical warfare gear in the middle of a Texas summer in near 100-degree weather, wearing a gas mask and charcoal-lined uniforms. I sweated a lot when we did rapid runway repair drills, hauling heavy aluminum matting to fit into place over hypothetical craters a fictitious enemy bombed into the runway in training exercises. Not only did I sweat, but I got thoroughly nasty when I was being trained to use the machine that cleaned the base sewers, and the guy training me thought it would be really funny to have me lean over the manhole to watch for the head of the hose while he reeled it in with the full 3,000 psi going and sprayed me with everything in the stopped-up manhole. That was the day I wasn't allowed into the house until I stripped on the patio and had to wash my uniform at the nearest laundromat. The summer I graduated with my theater arts degree, I worked as an apprentice in a scenery shop in Houston, Texas. No air conditioning. Temps in the building topped 100. We just had 2 fans, one at each end of the big warehouse-sized area where things got built. I sweated a whole lot that summer. I have to admit that I hated it. I hated all the hard work while I was doing it. Why did I hate it? I hated it because it was hard. But somehow, somewhere along the way, I learned a really valuable lesson that my father probably tried to teach me in my youth, but I was too stubborn and too ADHD to get it. The sweat and getting tired is just part of the price. It doesn't mean you have a crappy job. It means the work that's getting done is just work that requires that part of you. That same ethic then followed me into my physical fitness, working outdoors in my yard, going on hikes and camping as a Boy Scout leader, and even more metaphorically with any other work that I've done, working in a completely air-conditioned atmosphere when I had a desk in my own office. The sweat equity that I did was sometimes mental or emotional, and I always made a point to leave everything on the floor, so to speak, when I left for the day. In other words, I gave it my all. I included this Love to Sweat episode in this series, 50 Ways to Love Your Soul, because this is the time of year that a lot of people have already abandoned New Year's resolutions, and a lot of those resolutions had to do with working out in some way. People quit for the same reasons I quit a lot of things in my late teens and early 20s. We quit because it gets too hard. So I wanted to offer to anyone who receives this that there is value in the sweat. There is value in making the sweat. Every drop that hits the floor represents that much more growth that you have churned on your own. Nobody gives that to you. Those drops aren't handouts. Those drops are your own effort toward your own dream because of the hard work you're doing. I've grown to love the way it feels to sweat profusely. You can feel all the toxins rapidly leaving your body, or at least I think so. That's how it feels to me. It's like a well-oiled machine running at max RPMs, and I am completely in the zone. When you love to sweat, you love your process. You love the work you're doing. You love how hard that work is, and you know you're making huge progress the more you sweat. When you love to sweat, you are loving yourself. I love listening to Fearless Motivation on Amazon Music because those guys really nail the truth of working toward your dreams. One of the impactful things they say is that when the winner in you meets the quitter in you, listen to the winner every time. The quitter will never take you down a road you want to travel. The winner in you will always love to sweat, too. While you are loving the sweat, remember that all of creation is conspiring in your favor. Trust that the universe always has your back. Founder of McDonald's, Ray Kroc, once said, "Luck is a dividend of sweat. The more you sweat, the luckier you get."
Thank you for taking the time to listen today. Please help keep this podcast going by following the Motivational Devotional Facebook page, following @Threefold Way Radio on Twitter, and sharing the written format of today's message from motivational-devotional.com on your social media. I am deeply grateful for your support, and thank you for letting Motivational Devotional be part of your journey. Peace out. See you tomorrow.
Motivational Devotional is a production of Threefold Way Radio, LLC.